So we know that Diddy's parties and his freak-offs have linked to many other A-list celebrities. Now, a lot of them we just say that they are alleged, but I mean, besides Meek Mill, Stevie J, and a couple other dudes, it doesn't seem like it's alleged at this point. But we're just, for the sake of it, we're going to say it's alleged. And now we have Ellen DeGeneres. In this video right here, it really blows her cover. We're going to be able to see that she actually attended these freak-off parties and enjoyed it. And let me show you how.
Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
All right,
For
good.
real.
Good.
Your shoes, your feet are going to have blisters. You're going to be dancing so hard.
I can't wait.
Now, three things to notice. First off, this tone of voice. Obviously, he switched his entire tone of voice when he said that he's going to be coming. The second thing, he said she's finna have blisters on her feet. Ain't nobody dancing that hard at one of Diddy's parties. Because we already know you gotta say no.
You gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
Gotta tell him no. And if you're not telling him no, you're gonna have to enjoy the antics of the diddly diddler. That's the way it's gonna go. So as he begins speaking like this about the party, we're gonna see that Ellen DeGeneres actually starts caressing his pinky
Down
finger.
on this big one.
All right,
For
good.
real.
Good.
Your shoes, your feet are going to have blisters.
Look at the way
You're
she
gonna
start
be
touching
dancing
them.
so hard.
I can't wait.
Now that definitely shows a high level of comfortability just to start playing with someone's pinky finger. Because I would have been like, what the hell you doing? Get off my damn, you know what I'm saying? What you massaging my pinky finger for? So in this video right here, we have a 50-minute video exposing Ellen and how she is a master of deception.
Every public figure at some point has to simplify their entire brand and public perception to a few personality traits. Ellen DeGeneres, for most of her career, could be described as friendly, funny, and altruistic. She infamously branded two very simple words as her mantra to live by: be kind.
When I say be kind to one another, I mean be kind to everyone.
Just be kind.
But the act of being kind also has great benefits. Try to do something kind this week.
But we learned that Ellen made some exceptions to her always be kind rule. Be kind, unless it's her employees who accuse Ellen show producers of mentally abusing and sexually assaulting them. Be kind.
Sounds very familiar, like she sound like Diddy 2.0.
Unless there's a funny opportunity to humiliate a fan on live television. Be kind. Unless she can force a pregnant woman to drink alcohol on television. Be kind. Well, because she has to when big brands are donating millions of dollars to her charitable causes. For 40 years, Ellen had the world convinced she was this lovable, genuine figure. She even won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. But as time went on, the cracks in the facade began to slowly emerge, and the world finally saw her reality behind the mask. The empire she built in 4 decades came crashing down in less than a year, and to this day, she believes that she is the victim.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business.
Today we are going to deep dive into the disastrous downfall of Ellen DeGeneres and analyze the warning signs we missed along the way. Ellen had no idea what she wanted to do with her life at the age of 23. She worked various odd jobs out of necessity. She painted houses, worked in factories, worked as a bartender, and even sold vacuum cleaners, but could not find any purpose for her life. That is, until she discovered stand-up comedy.
Have you always wanted to do comedy?
No, I really didn't. Until I got on stage, until I was talked into it, because I didn't want to, do it until some friends said, we're having a benefit.
I don't know what type of era this was in, but there was actually a point in time where this was a hairstyle to go on a talk show with.
That we need to raise some money, and I don't even know what the benefit was for. It was like, I think somebody needed a new pair of jeans or something at the time. And I went on stage, and I don't even know what I did, but it was funny at the time. I loved it. It was just the greatest feeling, and it just fell in my lap. Everything just kept happening, and so.
Most people who pursue an art form typically have a deep passion for it. Some comedians even see it as survival. They struggle to cope with the stresses and complexities of real life, and comedy is a necessary escape. Ellen lacked passion and was decently funny, This seemed like a pretty good job that was working, so why not keep pursuing it? Ironically, this type of mentality is perfect for someone to move up
Does Shorty have the mullet right now? She is rocking the mullet.
in the ranks in any industry. When you are not deeply or personally attached to your work or art, you are willing to make the necessary sacrifices for growth. In the perspective of a comedian, some may deny a movie or TV role because it's too corny, too unfunny, or just generally a bad look regardless of the opportunities it will bring and the revenue they will generate from it. Ellen was not that type of person. If there was an opportunity, she was going to take it. In the 1980s, she started performing stand-up comedy in New Orleans and gained a huge boost in popularity when she won Showtime's Funniest Person in America contest in 1982. This national visibility led to her doing stand-up shows around the country. In the 80s, doing a set on Late Night with Johnny Carson or David Letterman was a rite of passage for comedians. It was seen as a major milestone that often led to a professional career in comedy. In 1986, Ellen got her opportunity.
That whole fitness thing runs in my family, though, I think. That my grandmother started walking 5 miles a day when she was 60. She's 97 today, and we don't know where the hell she is. I'm kidding. We know where she is. She's in prison. But, I'm kidding again. You know, I kid a lot.
Rate those jokes 1 out of 10, please. Please rate those jokes 1 out of 10. Would you have laughed at that joke? I genuinely want to know.
Because I'm a comedian.
Ellen's style of comedy seemed like someone who was truly indifferent, like she didn't care to be on the stage. This could be perceived as confidence. Someone who is unafraid to fail or tell a bad joke. Combine that with the fact that she was a woman in the 80s, a time where women weren't exactly dominating the comedy industry, and opportunities came pouring in. Today's video is sponsored by Aura, and it's very important to be talking about them because hackers may have seen Hill, which only lasted 1 season. Her newfound fame earned her an HBO special sitcom Open House, and then jumped from there to another ABC sitcom called Lori Hill, which only lasted 1 season. Her newfound fame earned her an HBO special in 1992 called One Night Stand.
I was in the back and I went to the kitchen to get some lemonade, and in the kitchen was my dad, my mom, all my brothers and sisters just standing there staring at me, about to start laughing. I was like, what? I was 7, I didn't know. And my dad said, Ellen, honey, you were adopted and we've never liked you, so we've sold you to a tribe of Iroquois Indians. They'll be here to pick you up in about an hour. We're gonna go to a movie. Bye-bye, good luck.
Ellen has this unique, quirky charm that's irresistibly captivating. She doesn't rely on shock humor or hot-button topics. She comfortably and confidently delivers her wacky and obscure thoughts, which earned her respect from fans and other legendary comedians. However, in the 90s, there wasn't much money or longevity in doing stand-up as a full-time job. Most comedians were pursuing jobs on Saturday Night Live or writing for movies. Most successful comedians in the 90s got their notoriety through being the face of a television sitcom. And in 1994, Ellen got her big break when she starred in her own ABC sitcom, Ellen. This show was about a neurotic bookstore owner in her 30s dealing with her quirky friends, family, and the problems of daily life in Los Angeles. Despite her show being a big hit, it was canceled abruptly. Life in Los Angeles.
That is like such a sitcom cover.
Despite her show being a big hit, it was canceled abruptly when she came out as gay. Ellen was planning a historical moment with the Puppy episode, which was a code name to keep its intentions a secret. In the summer of '96, Degeneres opened negotiations with ABC and Disney to have Ellen Morgan, her character, to come out as lesbian during season 4. Word of the secret negotiations leaked, sparking a media frenzy of speculation as to whether or not Ellen was gay and how that would impact her career. Gay activist groups like GLAAD started campaigning in support of her historic moment. The buzz and build-up to this episode permeated throughout the industry. Everyone knew it would be a historic moment. Famous actors were lining up to be in the episode to show support, and the 2-part series saw multiple cameos from very famous celebrities. But the most important cameo was none other than Oprah, who Ellen herself said would give the announcement its legitimacy and would not be treated as a joke. Still, a bomb threat was phoned into the studio during production, and director Gil
That's interesting. Before this point, she wasn't interacting with too many A-list celebrities. It was all stand-up comedian shows, you know, going from here to there. That was really it. And a couple of different sitcoms. But there were no people that were like with high influence in those sitcoms. But as soon as she makes this transition, she has Oprah and a lot of different A-list celebrities lining up at the door for her. Sounds interesting.
Younger recalled getting a phone call from someone who told him he was going to hell. 16 days prior to the episode airing, she made the cover of Time magazine, also announcing her coming out. 1 week before the episode, she did an interview with Diane Sawyer where she discussed her sexuality.
I know what it feels like to try to blend in so that everybody else will think you're okay and they won't hurt you. I decided that this was not going to be something that I was going to live the rest of my life being ashamed of.
When the puppy episode aired on April 30th, 1997, Ellen made history, becoming the first lead character on American television to come out of the closet.
I mean, what is wrong? Why do I have to be so ashamed? I mean, why can't I just say the truth? I mean, be who I am. I'm 35 years old. I'm so afraid to tell people. I mean, Susan, I'm gay.
This episode was the highest rated episode of any show.
And to be honest, that sounds like she opened up the gateway for like different shows like Degrassi. I remember one time my dad came into my room. I was young. I was probably like 10. Anywhere from like 9 to 11. 9 to 11. He was like, any of you watch Degrassi? I'm like, no. I've always seen like the commercials and stuff, but I'm like, nah. It was like a children's show for like young teens, preteens. But all the time in that show, they would have like same sex kissing. And it seems as if Ellen was the first person to do it and open up that gateway so they can actually have like that type of content being showed into like younger and younger generations, which is crazy.
Show on the network in 1997, drawing an astounding 42 million viewers. The very same day when that episode aired, she did a sit-down interview with Oprah where they discussed in detail the process of her coming out. Despite the historic moment, the show's advertisers were dropping like flies. Chrysler, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, JCPenney, Domino's, Ford, and General Motors all decided to stop advertising on the Ellen Show because of this episode. And after the puppy episode, Ellen's ratings began to dwindle, and 1 year later, ABC canceled the show. Entertainment Weekly put her on their cover in a similar pose to the iconic Times cover, but this time the caption was, "Yep, she's too gay." Ellen began making public appearances alongside her girlfriend and actress Anne Heche. She was officially free. The couple were seen as
Why the hell they look like twins? Shorty chose her doppelganger to date.
blazers for LGBTQ rights, which was noble, but it wasn't exactly.
That's like literally kissing yourself. Come on. How self-centered is that? Come on now, Ellen.
Helping Ellen's career. Ellen's career was on a downward trajectory after coming out. She had ancillary roles in various unpopular films and TV movies. It's unclear if she was being blacklisted by the industry, or if the movies she was cast in were just bad, or if she was just a bad actor. Could have been a little mix of all three. But the only person whose career died harder than Ellen's was her girlfriend's. In the late 90s, Anne Heche was starring in hit after hit every year. Donnie Brasco, Volcano, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Wag the Dog, 6 Days, 7 Nights, among other 90s cult classics. But as Anne began dating Ellen, she seemingly disappeared overnight. Many years later, Heche described her relationship with Ellen, claiming that Ellen wanted her domesticated, isolated, and alone.
What happened was that I was, through the circumstances, shut out from things that I cared about, and in order to make her feel that she was being loved, I would erase those things from my path, such as acting, and replace them with things that I thought would give her a foundation. As we got further and further away from me being able to be in public the way that would please, I began getting further and further away from my friends and my friendships. And one of the things that concerned me very much was that I was beginning to feel shut off and shut down and shut away. And I told Ellen that I needed to have friends. She said she did not want to have a girlfriend that needed that. And that is the day I left.
Shortly after Ann and Ellen broke up, Heche was hospitalized after knocking on the front door of a rural California home, making strange statements to its residents. She appeared shaken and confused. Within a year of breaking up with Ellen, Heche married Coleman LaFoon, a cameraman she met while working on a documentary about Degeneres' return to stand-up comedy. Ann also announced the release of her book, Call Me Crazy. Ellen claimed at the time she was blind.
What happened to girls? I thought she was just
Excited by all of this. She walked out the door and I haven't spoken to her since. I don't have the answers. I would love to have them myself. I would ask all of the questions that everyone else wants to ask. I'm left with everybody else, wondering what happened. I don't know. I really don't. I feel betrayed. I have no idea what the book is. I have no idea. Ann's book was not much of an insider to her relationship with Ellen as many suspected, but rather something much more serious and unfortunate. Ann opened up about how her father really abused her as a child, which caused her years of mental illness. Heche also said that she feared she would die of AIDS, the disease that killed her father, in 1983. She said, "I had a fantasy world that I escaped to. I called my other personality Celestia.
I called my other personality Celestia. I called the other world that I created for myself the fourth dimension. I believed I was from that world. I believed I was from another planet. I think I was insane."
Ann struggled with her mental health publicly for many years after their breakup. She also struggled with substance abuse. At the time, most people sided with Ellen and just said that Ann was the crazy ex-girlfriend. Some people even claimed that Ann was blacklisted because of Ellen. But Ann Heche was in 40 movies and had more than 15 regular roles on various episodic series for the rest of her career. She was getting jobs and remaining active, just none of her performances outshined her 90s roles. After the breakup, Ellen released her second major stand-up special, The Beginning, which was symbolic of a restart in her career.
When you are down there, there are times you do not believe you will ever get up again. And it's a scary place, and it's very dark. But I believe that's when you grow the most, when you face your fears. That's when you grow. And so I decided I am going to face every fear I have. I'm going to challenge myself every opportunity I get. People always try to make you feel better. They say, oh, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Okay, great. Now I'm scared of fear. Thank you very much. I also decided to get rid of the need of approval. That is a strong addiction, the need of approval, isn't it? That I'm on the patch right now, actually. It releases small doses of approval until I no longer crave it, and I'm going to rip it off.
However, she seemed to slightly lose that off-the-wall, self-deprecating, and slightly dark humor. Many jokes became metaphors for societal change that resulted in clapter.
Clapter is when you make a really good point and everyone claps, but they're not laughing because what you said wasn't funny. It was just something that you believe.
She had a slight resurgence in 2001 with the launch of her second sitcom, The Ellen Show. Unfortunately, due to low ratings, the show was canceled after just one season. And just when things were looking bleak for Ellen, in 2003, her career drastically changed. She voiced the character of Dory in Pixar's Finding Nemo, which secured $871 million in the worldwide box office, becoming the second highest grossing film of 2003 and holding the record for the best-selling DVD release of all time with over 40 million copies sold. She launched her third comedy special, Here and Now, which is
DVD of all time,
and holding the record for the best-selling DVD release of all time with over 40 million copies sold. She launched her third comedy special, Here and Now, which is considered by many to be her best comedy special in her catalog. Ellen was a comforting, silly, relatable, and kind comedian. She never punched down. She didn't talk about race, religion, politics, or anything that could be deemed as controversial. There was nothing dark or edgy about her set. It was mostly quirky, relatable humor.
We're lazy. We have buttons doing everything for it. There's no physical activity attached to anything anymore. Even the garage door opener. We used to have to get out of the car and open up the garage door. Now there's a button you push, you know? And the car window. This became too much. I don't want to churn butter. I just want fresh air. We still use that gesture if we want somebody to roll their window down in traffic. We still use that, even though nobody's got it. Because we'd look like idiots if we did this.
Ellen's relentless positivity, family friendliness, and desperation for a consistent career made her the perfect candidate as a talk show host. And on September 8th, 2003, the very first episode of The Ellen DeGeneres Show aired.
Well, thank you. It's September 8th. This is our very, very first show, and you are my very first audience.
In the early years of her talk show, Ellen quickly became a breath of fresh air in the daytime talk show space. She played up a persona that is positive, exuberant, and encouraging. During the peak of tabloid culture, cutthroat journalists who were bloodthirsty for some juicy celebrity drama, Ellen offered herself up as a safe space for celebrities to come on and just have a normal chat with a kind woman. Her spontaneous dance moves and playful, upbeat energy made viewers feel, in the words of Robin Williams, you feel like you're with a really brilliant 12-year-old. This unique approach helped Ellen draw an average daily audience of about 2.4 million viewers, launching her into the top 15 talk shows on television. Over her entire tenure as the show's host, she earned 33 Daytime Emmy Awards, including 2 for Outstanding Host and 3 for Outstanding Show. She hosted the 2007 Academy Awards and was peaking in her career. In the words of Oprah, she radiated the kind of peace and satisfaction that comes only when you're living at your highest potential. However, it was at this exact time that the cracks in the facade began to appear. Much like the writers' strikes we saw in 2003, in 2007 the Writers Guild of America were seeking increased residual rates for DVD sales. At the time, Ellen was selling a lot of DVDs. The DVD highlights from her first 3 seasons of The Ellen Show, which were priced at $24.98, has been a top seller at Target. The Guild advocating for higher residuals would mean that Ellen would make less money. Writers are the foundation that Hollywood relies on, especially Ellen. Without writers, she has no scripts, no jokes, no stories. Other talk show hosts like David Letterman, Jay Leno, and Jon Stewart were all supporting the striking members of the Writers Guild and decided to temporarily pause their shows during the strike. Conan O'Brien not only voiced his support but also continued to pay the salaries of his writers while they were on strike.
We are back now, but sadly, we do not have our writers with us. I want to make this clear. I support their cause. These are very talented, very creative people who work extremely hard. I believe what they're asking for is fair.
But not Ellen. Ellen demanded the show must go on, telling her audience there's a writer's strike going on, and here in Los Angeles, it's a huge story. I want to say I love my writers. I love them. In honor of them today, I'm not going to do a monologue. I support them, and I hope that they get everything they're asking for, and I hope it works out soon. In the meantime, people have traveled across the country. They've made plans. They're here. I want to do everything I can to make your trip enjoyable and give you a show. Some people look at this as a positive thing. She has over 100 staff members that would not get paid if she decides to stop the show. Plus, she was also syndicated and could have contractual obligations to keep the show running. However, others see this as counterproductive to a strike. I mean, sure, she says that she supports the people who literally make her show function, but the whole point of a strike is to stop working and for powerful people to stand in solidarity with the strikers to demand change. Because of the Ellen Show continuing, some of her employees began revealing what life is like behind the scenes of the Ellen Show. A former writer for her 2001 sitcom said, "We'd watch her in rehearsals, smiling and winning us over with her charm and comic timing. Then the director would yell cut, her face would fall, and she'd level a glare at the writers. Why do you keep writing these unfunny jokes?" On one hand, you could see her as disingenuous, fake, and rude. On another, you could see this as blunt, harsh, but essential criticism from a boss to her employees. However, this next accusation paints her as a malignant opportunist. Ellen connected with a talented writer on her show, put his jokes into her stand-up act, used his words to fill 2 pages in her book, then promised him a job on her new show. When he met with a low-level producer, they said he didn't have the right experience, and Ellen pretended she couldn't do anything to help. And remember, this was all the way back in 2007. Most people probably didn't know about these accusations, and even if they did, they probably wouldn't have believed them. Ellen was too graceful, too kind. Surely she is exactly the same way off screen. For the next 10 years, Ellen dominated the entertainment industry with no dents in her armor. In 2011, Oprah Winfrey's show officially ended, and it seemed like Ellen would take her spot as the queen of daytime TV. Although Ellen mostly covered entertainment, not much politics or social issues, she seemed to be the second best option to watch after Oprah stepped down. Additionally, she and Jimmy Fallon were quick to use YouTube as a tool to grow their presence amongst the youth. I would guess the majority of you watching have never watched an episode of The Ellen Show in your life, but you have seen countless clips of the segments uploaded to her YouTube in the past decade. She amassed 23 billion views on YouTube through her celebrity interviews, musical performances, and talented guests. In the 2010s, if anyone went viral, they would be on Ellen the next week, no matter how boring or uninteresting their story was. Nearly every single one of these interviews would end with Ellen giving them some sort of gift, like when she gave the Damn Daniel kid a lifetime supply of Vans sneakers, or when she gave Mary Catherine Backstrom, a woman who went viral on Facebook for a funny video, $20,000. Now, some people only think that she's giving away this money because the brands are sponsoring the show and essentially using this charitable contribution as an ad. This was extremely evident the time she had a college student on her show who had been donating blood for 6 months just to pay for a computer, buttered her up to announce that Shutterfly was going to pay her tuition, only for her producer to say that's not the case.
Wow, that's a lot of college.
It's a lot.
Yeah, how much is tuition?
It's like more than $50,000 right now. I get a little bit of financial aid, but
yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a
Well,
lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
And your story is very sweet. And so I talked to my friends at Shutterfly. They want to help pay for. I'm sorry. What does that mean? I just haven't. Okay. So this is awkward, but so we're going to give you a computer.
Great. I mean,
We have the computer.
I have a computer, but
Okay, but it's a nice.
great.
This is so
If I had the kind of
cringy.
money Ellen has, I would have said, well, I made a mistake. Shutterfly isn't going to help pay your tuition, but I absolutely will. Then again, this is just one mishap amongst literally thousands of charitable contributions Ellen has made throughout her career. It has been a large part of what makes her so loved. Ellen supports people and families who are facing difficult times.
Nah, how do they just downgrade having your tuition paid to getting a computer? Oh my gosh, that was so bad. I feel like she probably just goes on autopilot when she goes on these shows because she has everything written out. But like, something better to say was, oh, Shutterfly doesn't want to pay your tuition, but I'll see if I can possibly find another brand that would want to sponsor it. Something, going to computer is just horrible.
Those she feels need to be recognized
Hey,
for their
let's be grateful she got a free computer.
good deeds and hard work for their communities. After the devastating Hurricane Harvey in 2017 that tragically took the lives of 107 people, Walmart, donated $1 million to J.J. Watt's relief fund for the victims. Walmart and Ellen also gave all of these girls 4-year full-ride scholarships for the victims. Walmart and Ellen
Why is Shuddy right here eyeballing Ellen like
also
that?
gave all of these girls 4-year full-ride scholarships to university.
We've never done anything this big before. We reached out to the people at Walmart, and they want to give each one of you a 4-year scholarship.
Ellen and
I'm not gonna lie, that seems so damn staged, it's insane.
A 4-year
She's shocked before she even heard anything. Hey, what's going on?
scholarship.
Ellen and Shutterfly gave $22,000 to pay the student debt of a Sudan refugee who taught herself English by watching Ellen. She was also very passionate about wildlife conservation.
I am determined to do something about this. I am posting this picture on Instagram. If you're as outraged as I am, please repost it, retweet it with the hashtag #BeKindToElephants. And for everyone who does, we'll make a donation to the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust to help protect elephants. And if you're not,
Degeneres created an anti-bullying PSA called Be Kind, which raised money for organizations dedicated to anti-bullying efforts, such as the Trevor Project and Pacer Center. This was the origin story to her entire Be Kind mantra. Nearly every single episode for over 3,000 episodes, Ellen has used her platform to accomplish a seemingly endless list of charitable contributions, and her motivation to do so was often summarized by a simple 2-word mantra. mantra, be kind. But in 2019, after 15 years of dominance, we would slowly find out that Ellen wasn't exactly the beacon of kindness we thought she was. In December of 2018, the New York Times published an article titled, "Ellen is not as nice as you think." The subject of the interview was about Ellen's return to stand-up comedy, as she just announced the release of a Netflix comedy special called Relatable.
A few years ago, I started ending my show by saying, be kind to one another. But here's the downside. I can never do anything unkind, ever. I shouldn't even have a horn in my car. Like, if someone cuts me off in a dangerous way, if I honk, they're like, Ellen?
Now, the journalist who was writing this piece was doing the interview at Ellen's house. As they were chatting, they brought up the idea that Ellen has to be kind all the time, to which Ellen's wife Portia walks over and says to Ellen about the interviewer, "Just remember, the nicer they are, the more they are going to screw you." The interviewer was taken aback since she had no bad intentions about her interview with Ellen. However, she did ask about the tabloid stories featuring anonymous complaints that Ellen isn't always kind to those she works with. Ellen said, "That bugs me if someone is saying that because it's an outright lie. The first day I said, the one thing I want is everyone here to be happy and proud of where they work. And if not, don't work here. No one is going to raise their voice or not be grateful. That's the rule to this day." Ellen did not realize it then, but this exact quote would validate all of the claims that were about to come out against her, creating a toxic company culture behind the scenes of her show. But none of her staff had the confidence to come out and share Ellen's secrets. That is, until the public opinion about Ellen's supposed genuine persona started to drastically change. And one of the major factors in that shifting public opinion was in her 2019 interview with actress Dakota Johnson. In the interview, Ellen jokingly accused Dakota for not inviting her to her 30th birthday party.
How was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last year, you gave me a bunch of about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited.
Well, who doesn't want to be invited to a party?
Well, I didn't even know you liked me.
Of course I like you. You knew I liked you. You've been on the show many times, and don't I show like?
Yeah. But I did invite you and you didn't come, so.
This time you invited me?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know? I don't think so.
Ask everybody. Ask Jonathan, your producer. Who said you were?
I was invited?
Right.
Why didn't I go? Was it? Oh yeah, I had that thing.
Now it's, I had that thing.
It was probably in Malibu. That's too far for me to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Dakota then goes on to talk about how comedian Tig Notaro performed at her party.
But Tig Notaro performed at your party?
She did.
She did a set?
She did. It was a surprise.
What did she do?
A bunch of funny stuff.
She's hilarious.
She's my favorite comedian. Other than you. I'm sorry.
No. I was just talking to my favorite actress the other day, Jen Aniston.
This interview is so passive-aggressive. Narcissists don't like it when you call them out. Now, some people felt this could have been a pre-rehearsed conversation exaggerated for the sake of comedy. It wasn't pre-rehearsed. As many daytime talk show celebrity interviews are pre-rehearsed and calculated. However, other people on Reddit and Twitter, as well as mainstream publications, began resurfacing.
Hey, like I'm big on energy, you know what I'm saying? And that was giving my awkward energy for real.
The interview
100%.
segments that seemed to challenge Ellen's kind reputation, like her 2013 interview with Taylor Swift, where she continuously pestered her about the men that she has been dating.
Very happy. You were here with your boyfriend Zac Efron last time. How's he doing?
We actually never dated.
Yes, you did. So when you probably talked to him earlier today, how's he doing?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while because we didn't date.
Yes, you did. Why do you deny it?
Because we didn't.
Oh, okay. Which song is about Zac on the new CD?
Ellen is out here toying with these A-list celebrities. Yo.
There's nothing really about Zac on the CD because we didn't date.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Taylor was visibly uncomfortable but continued to laugh off Ellen's pushiness, until they played a game where Taylor had to tell the audience which men on the screen she dated and wrote her songs about, before she screamed at Ellen to stop. Another old interview with Mariah Carey resurfaced where Ellen put her in a similar uncomfortable and inescapable situation. In 2008, rumors had been circulating that Mariah Carey was pregnant, but nothing was official. So during their sit-down, Ellen brought up the topic to try to get an exclusive bit of information.
You're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right, well, you don't have to
No,
answer.
that's okay. No, honestly,
you
how
don't
do I-
have to
how do
answer.
I-
Let's just toast with champagne and decide
But
if,
they've been saying that since we...
Wow.
Mariah
That's
didn't want to
a
discuss
crazy
it, but
ultimatum.
Ellen wouldn't let up.
I'm not going
That's
to ask
insane.
you if you're pregnant or
This
not.
is
I'm just
peer
going to
pressure.
say.
You see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
Just say you don't drink.
Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
My goodness.
Mariah is now in an awful situation.
You gotta be up on the, you gotta be in the spot. You say, no, I don't drink. Now it seems bad on Ellen for trying to peer pressure all this drinking and stuff. You gotta, come on, you gotta improvise, Mariah.
Either she drinks the alcohol while pregnant or turns down the drink, essentially proving that she is pregnant.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
It's too early for me. I only drink it after 3
Come on,
p.m.
Ellen. This is insane.
You're pregnant.
Mariah pretended to drink the alcohol, which essentially forced her to make the announcement
That's
that she
sad.
was pregnant. What makes this even worse is that just weeks later, Mariah Carey had to announce her tragic miscarriage to the media following her Ellen moment. Carey confirmed that she was pregnant at the time of the interview, but miscarried soon after. "I wasn't ready to tell anyone because I had a miscarriage. I don't want to throw anyone that's already been thrown under any proverbial bus, but I didn't enjoy that moment." But it wasn't just celebrities. Ordinary people and audience members were often put in extremely uncomfortable and awkward situations. Like on one episode when Ellen set up a free merchandise table for her audience members. Each person was instructed to take just one item to test how honest her audience was. Well, one woman, Nancy, took a mug, walked away, then returned to the table to take a pin and a shot glass, and Ellen played the footage in front of the entire audience.
Then she goes back and she returns one of her stolen items and she switches it out for a hat.
Bro, ain't no way.
All right. Hi.
Ain't no way, bro.
So, look, I like that you like the product so much that you wanted to bring one back for your sister. But now, when you go like to Costco or you're the kind of person like when you go trick or treating and nobody's home, you don't just take the bowl. You just walk away. No.
No.
All right.
Ellen shamed the woman for taking 2 extra pieces of overpriced merchandise that was likely made by child labor and then set up a jail to put the woman in.
Sorry, that's embarrassing and everything, but you know, let that be a lesson to you, because you think
It is.
you think nobody's watching you, and you just need to be a good person just because you want to be a good person. You go sit in that Ellen
right, we
jail
get
over
it,
there
Ellen.
right now.
No way.
No, you'll steal stuff back there. Come here, this way.
Bro, what?
What's your sister's name?
Well,
Anna. All right, well, Anna got you in big trouble.
Ellen was very low and petty for doing this. In March, comedian Kevin T. Porter started a Twitter thread saying, "Right now we all need a little kindness. You know, like Ellen Degeneres always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Respond to this with the most insane stories you've heard about Ellen being mean, and I'll match everyone with a $2 donation to the LA Food Bank." And while this Twitter thread was flooded with hearsay, rumors, blind items, stories that just couldn't be substantiated with any facts, Danielle Acevedo's story stood out amongst the rest. "When I was 15, The Ellen Show was doing a contest of fans making a bust of her and sending it to her. I worked so hard on this and even wrote her a letter. Weeks later, she used it as a prop in a game and gave it away to a random person with $500 attached to the bottom. With the suspicion that Ellen is this sadistic, evil narcissist who masks her reality with the be kind mantra, shocking allegations came to light about the harsh reality behind behind the scenes of working at her show. That be kind bullshit only happens when the cameras are on. It's all for show. I know they give money to people and help them out, but it's for show. In 2020, BuzzFeed News reported on the experiences of 10 former employees who described the behind the scenes of the beloved daytime show to have a culture of fear and intimidation. A black woman who used to work on the show told BuzzFeed News she experienced racist comments, actions, and multiple microaggressions. She said when she was hired, a senior level producer told her and another black employee, "Oh wow, you both have box braids. I hope we don't get you confused." And at a work party, she said one of the main writers told her, "I'm sorry, I only know the names of white people who work here." And other co-workers awkwardly laughed it off instead of
That
coming
is
to
not
her
a laughing
defense. When she
situation.
started to speak up about the discrimination, she said all of her colleagues distanced themselves from her. Multiple employees corroborated that producers and executives pushed the idea that employees should feel lucky to be employed by Ellen, that working for her is reaching the peak of the entertainment industry. And if you didn't constantly express your utmost gratitude, you were ignored, treated unfairly, or fired. And thinking back to that 2018 quote that Ellen said, you know, no one is going to raise their voice or not be grateful, that's the rule to this day, seemingly validated the idea that there was a culture of fear. I never felt like it was safe to go to my manager when I had issues, because this was the same person who would wait for me to go to the bathroom and then message me, asking me where I was and why I wasn't at my desk, one employee said. The employees who spoke to BuzzFeed News says they worked in a culture dominated by fear. One of them said a general feeling among staffers was, if you have an issue, don't even think about bringing it up. Another ex-employee, Hannah Muscat, who was employed in 2003 and 2004, told Insider what it was like to work on the show.
We were told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
She specifically pointed out Ed Glavin, the show's producer, as being the guy who does Ellen's dirty work.
We were in our production meetings and she would watch Ed go off on people. Ellen would look at Ed and she would laugh because I was hoping she was going to say, Ed, you can't be yelling at crew this way. You can't be yelling at people this way. She laughed and she said, every production needs their dog.
Meaning
Ed is her dog.
Like her attack dog.
Her attack dog, so therefore she doesn't need to do that. He took the role of being the attack dog, that she didn't have to now be the attack dog, so she didn't have to yell.
So when Ellen says she's not aware of this environment, you don't think that rings true?
It's a lie.
Even more allegations poured out about Ed Glavin, but it was a little more than just toxicity. BuzzFeed released a second report where 36 employees accused executive producers Ed Glavin and Kevin Lehman of sexual misconduct. 5 former employees said executive producer Ed Glavin touched them in a way that made them feel uncomfortable by rubbing their shoulders and back, as well as placing his hand around their lower waist. Basically, Glavin had a reputation for being handsy with women. You could definitely see the creep factor and the creepy touching. That was out in the open for everybody to see. One former employee who said Glavin regularly touched her in the control room told BuzzFeed News, obviously nobody wants that and no one wants to be uncomfortably touched by someone, but you didn't want to piss them off or you would be fired, so it was just that culture of fear. And if that wasn't bad enough, Kevin Lehman, the head writer and executive producer of The Ellen Show, was allegedly even worse. One ex-employee said Kevin Lehman asked him if he could give him a hand or perform oral in a bathroom at a company party in 2013. Another said they separately saw Lehman grab a production assistant's penis and saw Lehman grope a production assistant in a car and kiss his neck. Nearly a dozen former employees, who range from longtime senior level employees to production assistants, said it was common for Lehman to make
We don't get
one former employee said. Many of his targets were lower level and younger employees who felt they lacked any power to speak up. He'd probably do it in front of 10 people and they'd laugh because it's just Kevin being Kevin. After all this came to light, Kevin decided to make a statement for himself saying, I started at The Ellen Show as a PA more than 17 years ago and have devoted my career to my work my way to the position I now hold. While my job as a head writer is to come up with jokes, and during that process we can occasionally push the envelope, I'm horrified implied that some of my attempts at humor may have caused offense. Warner Media, who owns The Ellen Show, decided to take matters into their own hands and perform an internal investigation. But some questioned the validity of these investigations. A former Warner Brothers employee who worked with The Ellen Show said the company turns a blind eye to the alleged misconduct because the series is a cash cow. This controversy was right in the middle of the pandemic. People were stuck inside, angry at the countless list of problems that were going on in their cities and countries, so Ellen being exposed as evil was shocking but equally interesting, and the entire world was tuned in. It's rare you see someone with a flawless reputation, someone who has been given the Presidential Medal of Freedom, have their entire reputation be unmasked as a facade. Tons of Ellen's celebrity friends came to her defense. Katy Perry, Diane Keaton, Ashton Kutcher, Jay Leno, Kevin Hart, and Kris Jenner all took to social media to say, "I stand with Ellen," or praise her for being kind, honest, and courageous. But many people didn't really care how Ellen treated her rich celebrity friends, as it was her hardworking employees that were the ones being allegedly abused behind the scenes. Ellen's first public acknowledgement of the controversy came from a letter to her staff, which was later shared with the media. In that she writes, "My name is on the show and everything we do, and I take responsibility for that. Alongside Warner Bros, we immediately began an internal investigation and we are taking steps together to correct the issues. As we've grown exponentially, I've not been able to stay on top of everything and relied on others to do their jobs as they knew I'd want them done. Clearly, some didn't. That will now change, and I'm committed to ensuring this does not happen again." A few days later, she would post a direct apology to the rest of the world.
I am so sad, and I am so angry.
Wait, she did this in quarantine?
And I know I'm not going to say the right thing. I know that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be in disagreement with what I say, but I have a platform and I have a voice, and I have always stood for equality. I have always wanted to be the voice for people who felt like they didn't have a voice, because I know what that feels like. And maybe you don't agree with how it's coming out, but you have to understand it, and then we can heal it. I'm just so...
Understand what?
Sorry that it's come to this. I really don't know what to say other than this has gone on way, 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 way too long. People have gotten away with murder, and that's what's happening.
Now, this is not a clear, concise, or direct admission of wrongdoing. People were upset with her choice of words, as she said, "Sorry, it has come to this." Additionally,
bro, honestly, she barely even said anything.
Using idioms like "get away with murder" in a weird way downplays the situation, because she recognizes something horrible is happening under her command, but does not specifically say what it is. But she is being vague for legal reasons. After Warner finished their internal investigation, 3 senior executive producers, Ed Glavin, Kevin Lehman, and co-executive producer Jonathan Norman, were all fired. Although they never admitted that any misconduct actually occurred, firing them was seemingly a strategic attempt to save face. They were never sued, tried, or found guilty of committing any crimes. Every new season of The Ellen Show opens with a monologue. The one opening season...
It seems like they just picked a couple producers to fire them to make it seem like they're making some progress.
Season 18 contained yet another apology.
Let's get to it. As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. We have had a lot of conversations over the last few weeks about the show, our workplace, and what we want for the future. We have made the necessary changes, and today we are starting a new chapter. There were also articles in the press and on social media that said that I am not who I appear to be on TV. The truth is, I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, I get mad, I get anxious, I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I am working on all of that. I don't think that I'm that good that I could come out here every day for 17 years and fool you. This is me, and my intention is to always be the best person I can be. And if I've ever let someone down, if I've ever hurt their feelings, I am so sorry for that.
Everything about this is so manipulative. The outfit, the tone, the jokes, the speech. I don't like apologies that include "if I hurt you," "if I offended you." If is not taking responsibility. But things got even worse for Ellen. In May of 2021, she announced that she would be ending the Ellen DeGeneres show after its 19th season. This came after months of speculation about whether the show could even survive the controversy and the declining viewership, which dropped by over 40%. In her announcement, Ellen framed her decision as a creative choice, saying that after 19 years, the show was no longer a challenge for her. She denied that the ending of the show was due to the drastic drop in viewership.
The ratings are down for this show. They're down for every talk show.
Right.
To be fair.
Yep.
But more for this one. Mm-hmm. Does that factor into any of this decision?
It's more for this one because we had further to fall, and everybody else was at a lower place, so they didn't have as far to fall. To be honest, I mean, that's the truth. We were very, very successful.
Ellen also claimed that she was a victim when announcing the ending of her show.
And also, I have to say, if nobody else is saying it, it was really interesting because I'm a woman, and it did feel very misogynistic. It felt like I am a boss. I have a very successful show. I'd never had any complaints about anything for 17 years, and all of a sudden, all at once, something happened. So it did feel, it was...
Sexist?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Did feel weird.
These passive-aggressive comments seem to contradict her previous sentiments of, "I take responsibility for everything." It seems as if she tried to approach this controversy the right way, or the smart way, by taking accountability, firing those who were accused, and she just kind of hoped that things would go back to normal. But then her show's viewership declined drastically to the point where it only made sense to cancel the show. And anyone would be upset if they had to cancel their show. And it's easy to understand that after 19 seasons, it's pretty upsetting for the show to go down like that. Seems like Ellen is kind of bitter. Kind of upset. Maybe she kind of feels like she is the victim. But those feelings only worsen the believed narrative that she's a narcissist and her whole persona was faked for money and success. Every public figure at some point has to homogenize their entire brand and perception to a few personality traits. For Ellen, it was altruism and kindness. When you simplify your brand and persona, you become more reliable, more dependable. Kind of like a robot who does exactly what you are supposed to do and exactly what people expect you to do. The Ellen Show formula was exactly the same. Had the same tempo, the same energy, the same positivity, for over 3,000 episodes. The reason there was so much backlash towards Ellen was not because people suddenly found out she was actually mean behind the scenes. It's because her entire existence was centered around caring for other humans, giving back to those in need, listening to people's hardships, and then using her resources to provide help for them. And then the employees who worked for and built this amazing program that Ellen has generated hundreds of millions of dollars from, they were being mistreated, not listened to, and potentially at worst sexually assaulted. Therefore, her opposers felt that that was an obvious sign that her entire persona was all just a facade for money, whereas others think that the employees could be over-exaggerating. The accused were never found guilty of any crimes, and working on a major TV production is going to be hectic, stressful, with expectations for a high performance. Plus, when the allegation...
Hey, look it. All I know is that after this video...
Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
She might be leaving the parties with blisters on her feet. That's all I know. Because, Ellen, why were you rubbing his pinky like that? Why was Ellen rubbing his pinky as you started, lowering the tone of his voice, talking all that
Got
weird?
you. I promise you I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
All right,
For
good.
real.
Good.
Your shoes, your feet are going to have blisters. You're going to be dancing so hard.
I can't wait.
She can't wait. She cannot wait. Definitely think that she has attended some parties of Diddy's. Comment down below what you think about that situation or any other topics that pop into your mind that you want to comment down below. Do that, because I do enjoy reading the comments and I do enjoy reading what you guys have to say. Smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.